Thank you for coming. I'm really glad that both are here. That's better? Can you hear? We didn't plan like a talk where everyone is gonna make a speech or anything. We just thought right now that maybe we should show some of the books that are in the show and through them explain what's been happening lately. I mean, more or less 10 years in Mexico and in some other places in Latin America in relation to independent publishing. Basically, that's the focus of what's being shown up there. It's more or less, I don't remember, like maybe 30 or 40 different publishers from Mexico, Argentina, Puerto Rico, Brazil, Peru, y Colombia. I would love to be able to show other things that it was not possible because the sending of the shipment was expensive for these kind of publishers because they lack, of course, of resources all the time. But the intention was to give a perspective of what has been happening in these countries in relation to that, and that it, in my opinion, has been growing and growing and growing, and many people have been publishing in this independent way with really small or few resources. And using it, I think it has a particular relationship with certain technologies, specifically the risograph or risograph machine that has been boosting many things, especially in Mexico. Like 2 or 3 different collectives of artists bought these machines, and that has been like producing many stuff. Like people that normally didn't print, they go to these collectives, and even if they don't know how to use the machine, they use like the help that they give them, and so really useful collaborations have been happening lately, and it is possible to print like in few, how do you say this, like not this
small print
thousand
runs.
or exactly like small editions. So what you see upstairs, it's more or less always like made in 100 edition or 200, or but not many of those. And it was, sorry, of like being just throwing out ideas unconnected, but maybe you can connect them. That it was really important for the community to show these things in here, because it's even hard to get to know them in Mexico City. You have to be in the circuits of circulation because they don't end up in regular bookstores or whatever. No, they are more or less distributed through hand to hand or like in personal ways. So because of being part of Aeromoto, that has been happening to me all the time. Like people get their own publishing things. And it was in that way easy to get them grouped together and to show them here. But I think it's in a way representative of what's being shown there. Like the most active, and I would say also that it was not like a curated thing that I did because of certain criteria of. It was not like that. If I would say there's something that it's up there, it's just like try to represent what's been happening without any specific criteria of value or themes or whatever, just like a wide range, the wider that was possible.
I thought it was interesting if you can explain what is Aeromoto, because I was in Aeromoto. It's a fantastic initiative that he has started in Ciudad de Mexico. But today I was like, to refresh my head, I was reading a sort of like small statement about Aeromoto that Mauricio
said, Aeromoto is or was founded when 4 friends wanted to, or were kind of fed up. That's what we say, fed up of seeing our books in our houses and not being used at all. Or sometimes you go back to one book, or you don't really use them. No, you read them once and then you just put them for your ego there. So, and it's, in a way, you have to know Mexican context, but there are not so many public libraries where you can be able to go and have this kind of resources about visual contemporary art. It's not that our libraries are that impressive, it's like personal libraries, you know, small ones. But we decided to get them together and put them in a place that initially we rented with our own money, and you know, and we always joke that we have the best ideas for losing money. Fantastic ideas all the time, but it's so hard to exist. But anyway, we thought about this because I would say that in the scene, in the art scene, not in all of it, but in certain Mexican scene, I would say, related to young artists, I think like the copyleft thing and the autonomous and the independent. Sorry, I try to make. Sorry, I lack the words, but I will try to do the idea. Like they are dealing more and more with like independence in this in the world, like no, like trying to invent not utopian but possible ways and radical ways of existing in this capitalistic world. And in a way, Aeromoto was like a proposal to go against many things that we don't agree with, as you know, I mean, like the status quo of the world. And one of them, basically, and this is like what, like the political idea that is behind it, it's that things are like, instead of thinking all the time about private property, we try to think of public property and as commons, you know? And we thought that our books it was like a political gesture to say they don't belong to us anymore, they can belong to a broader group of people and be used as a resource. And maybe in that way we can imagine ways of sharing different resources without thinking that possession is important, but rather the shared use that we can do about things. So that's more or less.
But you also mentioned certain things about two things that I think they were interesting. That one has to do with velocity, and the other has to do with I don't know how it's said in English, desaceleration, the crecimiento, not to continue growing, not to develop, to start the idea of growing. Can you like develop these two ideas, like the idea of velocity and the idea of the crecimiento?
Yeah.
In relationship to a project, like and what and above all, like what this issue of slowliness means in relationship to the format of a book.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, we are 4 of us, and everyone has different opinions. But I especially think that that the world has gone crazy. That like I mean, in the rhythm of things, and like we produce so many things and so many images, but we don't take the time to consume any of them. We do, but like in a, I don't know the word. Like in a hysterical way, no? We are just like getting feed into our brains and into our souls, and kind of like growing old too soon. I just like, and it has to do with my body, you know. Like I would say, because like no ideas come out of nowhere; they come out of bodies, and in a way I was like feeling that I had to go slower in life, you know. And books are that, like books. ¿Cómo se dice cuando te exige? Exactly, they demand from you like taking this time and not just, no, it's like they propose a different rhythm of things, and so it was interesting for us to make an art project that didn't want to be excessively publicity or doing lots of stuff, or no, but like rather the contrary, like giving a space where time ralentizes and where you feel like in a kind of oasis where you can, yeah, like where you can take time in a different way. No, we have thought about that like many, and like I think it's kind of a detour, but it's almost impossible to think in our contemporary work without thinking in time. No? It's always like schedules and schedules and schedules, and the meeting at 6, and then, no, like, and it would be lovely to imagine a world where we are not so attached to those kind of rigidness, and just like to let it flow, and not in a hippie way, no, but like in a, I don't know in which way. Maybe we see perhaps and then like the other idea is it's also related to that, like to the fast thing and to the overproducing, and Aeromoto is like the size of Baxter here, more or less, and so its capacity is not that much. Like we can hold more or less 4,000 users. We are more or less there. So it's like space has been becoming a problem, and because at a certain point we thought like, shall we go bigger and no, like make this like an institution or bigger and have a bigger space, and we decided that, and it has to do with this acceleration. Is that an idea? Like, well, like the contrary of growing, no? Like see, exactly, and like in an Anthropocene way, no? Like saying like we don't want to spend resources. Of course, there are many contradictions in Aeromoto's practice, no? But like printing, it's like doing thing and etc. But in a way, we try to propose that we don't want to be the biggest contemporary library. We don't want to have everything that is being produced. We don't have, and it's like a really focused thing. We don't mind about modern art. We don't have any single book. O sea, Picasso don't exist in Aeromoto, or of course we love Picasso, no? Or I don't know. But it's basically books published from in this millennium, more or less. And in a way, we are trying to build an archive, but not this super big archive of what has been produced by our friends, basically, by like a community that has to do with friendship. That's really important, I guess. Like most of the books that are in Aeromoto, we know the people that made them. No? That's the way it is, and the way we want it to be. And yes, like the contrary, like as economists are always saying, like we have to grow, and like the Chinese are growing 10% or 10 points per year, and like for me that's unsustainable. That's like we are walking through the al vacío, see, and like zombies, no? Like we don't realize that really this is not, or maybe I don't know, maybe technology is a crazy thing, maybe shit happens.
But can I ask a question? How do you think the concept of professionalism in the practice of Aeromoto in relationship to a more like artisanal approach to work? Have you thought about it?
I guess I just want to append a question to that, which is like kind of about librarianship and being a public library and providing a resource like this, but then also, you know, like what kind of databases do you have? Like how does that information, like what is the kind of professionalism around like, you know, sort of traditional notions of librarianship as well?
I would say no professionalism at all. No, just like it's also like something that I would say, like now I would say it's clear that it serves a community. It's like a real resource for a community. But at first it was also something that was kind of a game, you know, like when you truly do things because you want to do them. And that was Aeromoto, like original intention. We wanted to play with this idea and in relation also what you asked, we just invented these crazy categories that were not like the traditional ones that you find in a regular library, and we do not catalog the books with the ISBN thing or the Dewey thing. We were like researching means like 10 minutes in Google, like how should we do it, and then we found a copyleft program or a free program in the web, and then we catalog like the basic facts of the books. But for certain time we have the discussion of if we should publish in some electronic place the databases of the books we have, and we decided not to. We are like against many things, and because we thought like some people is gonna go to that database and look for Foucault or I don't know what, and if it's not in there, he or she will not go there just because that's like what she was looking for is not there. And we thought like it would be really nice to go and find things that you don't even think you're looking for, no? And so there's no database on the web.
So basically, you have to go and
exactly, you have to go and search.
Which is fantastic.
It is.
The best way to do a search.
See, and most of the books are like not just like in regular libraries, but like this, spines we call them, no?
Yeah.
But like in the front, so you get like different relations with the books and that. But what do you think? I have talked about
This. No, my question regarding professionalism was because I think that in Latin America, like institutions like have suffered like this kind of professionalism anxiety, like trying to become professionals, and in a way aligning themselves to models that perhaps were not sustainable for themselves. So I understand that Aeromoto proposes something that is more closer to a kind of human scale, a kind of more artisanal or crafty approach to work and to institutions that I think is more intelligent to them. You know, because I think the idea of professionalism sometimes is really like a claustrophobic model in which to position yourself when you don't have resources to kind of arrive to the objective of professionalism.
But also I think what you're saying is that kind of displaces the human interaction that is at the basis of, like the social interaction that's at the basis of the circulation of these books, right? So it's not just that someone is going to come to the library and browse and decide what they're going to read, but it's also what they're going to probably meet lots of other people in the space and meet the person who's stepping together, and dialogues emerge from there, and the same way that dialogues emerge from books kind of passing hands and building a network of friends and collaborators, so that the like professional scale or whatever of the institution is also sort of displacing some of those interactions out there.
And I was just remembering that since we opened, we didn't want to buy stuff or to pay people to do stuff. So before moving the books to Aeromoto, we were doing the wood things, los libreros, the shelves and whatever was in Aeromoto, and we always tried to keep it in a scale that it's possible for the founders to open it. So that was like we are 4 of us, and the reason that we open from Monday to Saturdays is basically because each one of us goes there once a week. So I do all the Tuesdays, and then Maru do the Wednesdays, and that's the way it is. And every time, once a month, we do the Saturdays. So basically, it opens because we are able to go there. We don't have employees, we don't pay them. So there are like these little details that all the time we try to be like consequent with our thoughts. Of course, it's perfectable, no? It's not. So, but what do you think? Do you have any thoughts?
I'm thinking about growth, that word growth as opposed to becoming bigger. And I'm thinking that vis-a-vis your choice of, for instance, not putting out the catalog electronically, which means that in a way you're demanding somebody to be in that physical locality, to make the effort and come to that place and browse the books. We couldn't have the ease, for instance, to be here and look into this very obscure catalog which might exist somewhere in the world of internet. So it's a very interesting, I think, a choice, especially when you also are, so rooted in the community experience. And I guess I want to hear more about, what are the specific ideas, for instance, about growth, knowing that these are the routes you will not take, knowing that these are the paths you will not take.
I love to say that we are conscious of Aeromoto's finite existence. I know that it's gonna end because it's people that it's doing the effort, and we get tired, and our lives have been changing. Like when we opened, we were all singles and partying all night, and then 3 of us are now parents. So that changes many things in Aeromoto. No? We did many night events, and now it's like not so much. So that's also like one thing that we have been thinking, I guess, or me at least, like the way to make it end, because it's also like that. I think projects have certain potence or power, but just in specific time, no? Because otherwise you go like institutional in many ways, or you depend on grants or many things. So like it's like this temporary autonomous zone in a way, that it's powerful, but just in a certain time. So, but at the same time, this resource that has been growing because of the donations of many independent publishers or authors, artists, etc. It doesn't belong to us anymore, so it would be really unfair to say like, okay, thank you, and now I take away the books, and there are so many more. No? So start thinking of ways in which this resource could belong to another effort, or move, no, transform itself. I don't know precisely, but yeah, but I don't think Aeromoto will last 10 years or 15. It's see, no, okay, we have to move.
And so what's the role of Zines and self-publishing things in Aeromoto? Because it's like, it's a library of normal books.
Sí.
But there's also like a section of Zines. How do you work with that?
I don't know if it's like half of it, but lots of what's in Aeromoto is like this. I was just reading today in a scene that's up here that scenes are made in emergency, but not meaning like dangerous time, but like the urgent need to say things, no, or to propose things. And I guess like that's what scenes and independent publishing is basically about, because it's not like when you see scenes or like this auto-edited books mostly, they're not like individual catalogs or a support for a work to be in, basically they deal with ideas about, I don't know, feminism, whatever, political ideas. I think that they are always like trying to be a vehicle for sharing thoughts, no, about reality, and so they are important because I always use the metaphor of like I think of things as little rivers, but like they all go into a wider river, and that river can talk about what were our needs and passions, and like in a certain time. So there are like these unfinished thoughts always, because it's like you don't take 1 year to do a scene or even 2 months. You just like it's like vomiting, and like in the way of emergency. But I think like really, like vibrant ideas are they're always like in unfinished ways. So that's really nice. I love them, and they are precarious, and they are like not dealing with it if it's economically possible to sustain it. It's like if you have the 10 pesos, you go and Xerox it, and that's it. You don't think that it has to be something like a business, no? And I would say that's also another political idea that we always say like we don't sell anything, and Aeromoto we don't sell at all, and we are against selling things. And I think that's also like a statement.
On a practical level, are you seeing paying rent on your own? Like, how is it happening now?
It's how do you say, changing all the time. Like we now just got a grant that will let us go through 1 year more or less without paying. But like the past year we did, and also we say Aeromoto is a common effort or it is not. So in the way, meaning like the community wants us to exist, we will exist. Otherwise there's no, it's too stupid, no? It's like for our own ego, just to say like, so it was consequent to that to make like a Kickstarter thing, and so we did it once. So it has been in many ways, being founded in many ways. We have 2 grants from the Mexican state, this Kickstarter thing, and then we paid from our pockets, like made mostly the first year, and now we're not paying anymore. That's perfect, because it was like the thing that was getting us tired of it. No? I mean, like it's like because it's yeah, exactly. You cannot feed the babies, and you're like how do you say, like fooling yourself, like saying this is working through a community effort, and it's not. So it shouldn't go anymore, no?
But you don't pay for publications, right? Or do you sponsor the publication of projects?
We don't publish. We just did one. Rachel will talk about it right now.
It's the only book.
Yeah.
But
well,
you don't buy publications.
Well, we do buy publications, but just in few cases, basically when we got grants, and Inés bought some like a year ago, and we call it mesas curadas. It's curated tables, or and the criteria is that it's not us who wants to buy the stuff, because we believe that it's better to have more people proposing things of what Aeromoto should have. So Inés bought like 10 or 15 books from Argentina, and we have like this little survey of what's important there. And we do that, we buy books when we have grants, basically, and always in that way. Otherwise we don't buy, it's always donations.
So do people make donations when they come to the space? And
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Like, I don't know, 5 or 6 or 7 publications each week. It's amazing the way like people is producing stuff.
But do they make monetary donations also? Like, do they donate money when they come
Just
to visit?
when we did the Kickstarter thing,
Oh, okay.
other they don't.
But normally they don't.
No. You want to talk about any book?
I guess so. This is the only book you've published.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So this book, which was a collaboration between Aeromoto and Wendy Subway, which is a nonprofit library in Bushwick, and we have been doing these reading rooms City and also in other institutions that we've been invited to produce these reading rooms. And we were invited to do something at NADA Art Fair in 2015. And so we had sort of just met you in some ways, which kind of started to us thinking about these networks of alternative libraries and independent libraries that are not quite institutions, that might not aspire to the same kind of like imperatives of permanence and exhaustive collections and things like that that a library might, or like an institutional library might. So we sort of like paired our collections in some sense. I think you guys sent us like 25 books from your collection, and we paired them with 25 books in our collection. There's like a little catalog in the book. And then we invited like 50 artists and writers, some of them in Mexico City, others in New York, or like people that we knew, to like respond to the catalog. I was like doing a residency in Canada, which basically involved me spending the entire time like making these like individual pamphlets that gathered each contribution that the invited artists and writers had made. So some of them are essays that are kind of addressing thematics that were in the collection. Some of them are playlists to listen to with the collection. Some are like, kind of visual interpretations of some of the books. There's a huge range of stuff in here. And we had initially made these sort of like single edition pamphlets that could be read at NADA, which, like in some sense was also this kind of intervention, modest intervention within the art fair of like a completely non-monetary space, right? So like people would constantly ask when we were there like what they could buy, and we'd say absolutely nothing, so you can sit and read in the middle of this like giant market. And so the past couple years we've been, I guess now it's been 3 years, translating everything and made this bilingual book. So it's all of the things that we had initially invited people to do, and some additional like presentations that happened when we had public events around the reading room, and we had everything translated so that it could all be collected and it could be a bilingual publication. And this, I guess, is like for us also their sort of like first big book that we made.
And how are you selling it? How do you buy it?
Well, this was the funny thing about this book, is that we got this grant in Mexico, but the idea was that it had to be like, the condition for the grant was that it could not be sold. So I think if you're trying to get this book in Mexico, you just get it for free, like basically.
At Aeromoto.
Yeah. Because it's here it's $16.
I'm gonna tell the city of Mexico, the Mexico City
Foundation.
But really, it's interesting to think that like it's not quite what you might imagine like a grant would fund, like a publicity packet or something to be distributed freely. It's not that, right? But it's sort of like this strange condition for the funding was really kind of exemplary of like what you're talking about with this circulation of books and this real desire to just like place books in people's hands, donating them or just sort of passing them.
And are you giving them away in your space?
We are not, but that's because we didn't receive the grant.
Oh, I see.
From at our org, like the grant went to printing, so we charge like a small fee. Yeah.
But they will, because we are sending more to them. It has been also like difficult to move it, no?
Yeah, it's expensive to move them.
Super expensive. So each time that some friend
To
goes,
pack them in the
it's like
suitcases.
5 or 10, and that's the way they
Yeah.
have been coming here.
Yeah.
As each of you are part of organizations that have like a fairly intimate relationship to a community where you're embedded in something, but then there are also these broader networks that you participate in. So I was just wondering, I know about Aeromoto and Wendy's Subway, but are there other organizations that are kind of interlocutors or frequent collaborators in Latin America or elsewhere?
I mean, this was kind of, we had just we opened in 2013, and we sort of did this like research trip to Mexico City to learn about publications there, and met you basically 2 weeks after you had opened. And it was a really sort of like catalyzing moment in many ways for us to sort of see your project reflected in the ways that people like understand it and experience it, but then also to see that those endeavors that you're kind of doing in your own community or in your own geographic location are happening elsewhere, and sort of like kind of like can strengthen each other by like knowledge of what people are doing and sharing resources. Since we've started, we've really been interested in like not mapping these kinds of places, but like knowing where they are and like being in conversation with them. So when we did a reading room 2 years ago, I guess it was just this fall at Zine, we invited 25 independent libraries to send books that were in their collections as a way to say like we care about what is in your collection and we want to have like a tiny selection of that here. So I would say that's actually sort of like the number one priority for me and Wendy's, is to know about other projects and to talk to them about what they're doing, because I learned so much from other people's collections, from their programming, from the way in which they're structured or like not structured, and what the possibilities exist there.
Are you cataloging them online?
Yeah, we are, and like, our goal really is to make the catalog public in like a different way from you, but I think it's partially because our collection is maybe less specific than ours, both like in its kind of like in the output that it represents, and so I don't know. We want people to know what is in the space, because we often experience the situation where people like know what we're doing but haven't walked through our doors, and so we kind of have the maybe like opposite problem where we're like, if you know what's in the library, because we do a lot of public programming, if you know what's in the library, then so, and also because it's a reading room, not a lending library, and so like the goal is to get people sitting.
You want to show them? You love that one, right?
I love this. I didn't know it before. It's an envelope, and it's done by Laboratorio Editorial. This is a book, and inside there are these
Airplanes.
yeah.
They're paper airplanes. You can fold them and fly them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It has an amazing text by the Zapatistas, the
Exactly.
Ejército Zapatista. I'm not finding them. Where are they?
Yeah, they're there. You can see them.
Is that part of it?
Maybe it's inside.
Here. I'm not a pastor translator. You're better than me.
Can you translate it?
Fine. Soldiers, we know of poverty. No, we know that because of poverty you sold your life and your souls. I'm also poor, and millions others are poor. But you are worse. Because defending because you're defending those that exploit us. O sea, Cedillo and its little group of rich people.
Cedillo was the president of Mexico during the Zapatist uprising.
And in the ones that are empty, you are supposed to write a message and send it. It says breaking the personal fences and the collective fences, and in order to overcome
Deafness?
deafness.
So,
That makes me think of a previous project that we did that had to do with mail art and the way mail art was a strategy of resistance, but also it ended up building this really strong network of collaboration with Latin America in a specific moment in history, but that also was even beyond the confines of Latin America. And I'm wondering if the people who are producing these scenes, the people who are gravitating about these risographs and the artists who know how to handle, like, is that a community that is an international community? What kind of circulation exists between people who are producing in Puerto Rico and people who are producing in Mexico City?
there is, as we were saying, like someone from Puerto Rico. There's also a big printer there. Well, a big printer, it's too much to say. That is called La Impresora. They also have this lithograph thing. So it's like, it's always like that. Like a friend goes there and brings like a stack of things, and it's circulating in this like personal friend way. And I would say, like, maybe the more institutionalized way of circulating, it's like through these independent fairs that happen in different places, no? Here at PS1 or London or in Brazil and in Argentina. There are like all the time these efforts to get together and gather the different and again, they are always really precarious. It's like you pay your own ticket, you go, you take whatever you can in your suitcase, and that's it. It's amazing how everything is just trade. Like everybody wants to solve, but nobody has money, so everybody loves exchanging things and see. And I think it's related to the way mail art was distributed, no? Without intermediaries. O sea, you don't want an institution library to say, okay, we're gonna distribute it. It's like you don't ask for permission to anyone. You just share your stuff. In the book we just did, I remember there's an epigraphe, or like the little phrases you put up in the text. So in relation to mail art and other things written by Sana Gilbert, and it's like Marx basically said, control the production. No? The production means and then Fluxus basically postulated like control the ways of circulating the production.
Yeah.
Because in that way you can manage to get like to have a little bit more control of that, and I think that applies perfectly to this kind of things. Like you make them, and then you know the way to share, and with who, and like, because it's in a way that you can feel the consequences of really making it, and it's not like sending it throughout the world in a really abstract way. It's like, you know, the guy that you give the book and the ideas that you're sharing, and that it's like always putting things in common. Well, anyway, let's look to what else? Well, this is these are all done by a printer, Gato Negro, Black Cat. This is a specific series of Gato Negro that has to deal with contemporary manifestos, and they are, I don't know why they are published in English, because they publish most of the time in Spanish, but this specific collection is in English, and but it's interesting because many of the things that they are publishing is Mexican young people that is in this way being translated to this to the idiom, no? And they're like just one ink, really cheap. Maybe you can see them or pass them. And then this is just dogs. Prison dogs. Like I saw a great meme that said like maybe it's not funny the way I tell it. You know, it's like the internet is full of cats. No? They were like saying like anyway, sorry, no, never mind. I cannot help it. And then this is like opposed to those kind of things. This is really artisanal, made by such a sweet guy that lives in Buenos Aires that bought this old printer, like
Letterpress?
Tipos Móviles.
Yeah, letterpress.
Yeah, letterpress from 1905 and rebuilt it and arranged it. And he's always doing like little limited editions and he's amazing. You should look at his work. It's called Imprenta Rescate. You will see it there or here.
Mauricio, did you choose things that were at Aeromoto to bring, like certain things that you had in the collection there for the zine and photo book fair, or was this all new, a lot of new work for you too?
There's a lot of new things that we don't have, but some of them we do. Yeah, for sure. But yes, it's like how many? Like there are like 100, right?
I think there's 140 actually.
So I would
It's a
say
lot.
like those manifestos are really new. Maybe not specifically that, but they just published like 7 or 8 new ones, and they are here, and they are not at Aeromoto. And yeah, so there are many many new things.
Did you choose any that was? I saw you had Inés. You had a curated table or a curated section. Did you choose any that Inés had curated for the fair here?
There were some. Inés chose some of an editor called Mansalva. And we brought some of them, like 2 or 3. What else did we choose? You don't remember. It was supposed to be your favorite artist.
Mansalva is it's interesting because
Yeah, tell the
it's
story.
it's a commercial publishing. Like they are embedded in the market like any other kind of publishing house. But the person who directs it is a poet. He has created a library, a bookshop that really has an incredible climate, like an atmosphere, a kind of countercultural thing. So he's really unbelievable, and he published many books about artists, and he is like a little bit like edgy in the sense of like how he deals with business and things. He always like asks artists to give him a work, and he sells the works in order to publish more things. So he's not clean, but that same situation makes the whole thing like really interesting, you know, because he's like a kind of a capo mafia type of person, but he's really good in the kind of profile of the things that he published, both in poetry, normal literature, and art. So when you go there, you really feel like you are like in a completely like artistic environment. You know? He deals with his publishing house as an artist, as a kind of con artist, I would say. But it's extremely interesting.
It is, and it's really interesting. Also the way, I don't know if it was made possible by him, but you can see it in the books he publishes, that there are being so many relations between the artists that are writing and poets that are dealing with art, and those kind of processes that were common. But they are there all the time in Mansalva. Yeah.
And you go to, for example, to have a meeting about a project, I don't know, like Wednesday, 3 o'clock, and they're like drinking whiskey.
They're like here.
No, but really, and you know, after half an hour you start drinking yourself. You know, it's not that you can avoid that. It's like you are there and it's like that.
And it's kind of like a miracle that because they have published maybe 100 or 100%, a super big catalog of really good things, and things that wouldn't be published by anyone else. That's amazing. It's gonna be like a great collection. It is a great collection.
It's a great collection.
See, and also like I guess Wednesday nights they gather, and it's like going to hell. They call it the La Internacional Argentina, and it's basically drinking and having coke and talking about literature and they're heavy.
No, they're heavy, but really they are publishing incredible things.
Incredible.
And they are all the time on the verge of like like going bankrupt. I think they are bankrupt, and they keep going. It's like vicious. But they're really interesting, so take a look.
Mansalva. Are those Mansalva? No.
No, they're upstairs, I guess. But it's like literature. They're not.
They're not scenes.
Exactly.
Artist books.
They're like regular
Yeah.
literature books, basically. Sometimes they publish like artists' catalog, like the weirdest ones, no?
Yes. They are very much into a specific group of artists, and they are really devoted to them, and you cannot access. You cannot like propose something that is different from that group.
Yeah.
They're like really dogmatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
How old is it?
He must be like 45.
But how long is the editorial?
They've been like for 6 years, 8 years. And he's called Francisco Garamona, and he's a great singer, and he has a band. No, it's unbelievable.
Wow.
Personally, it's really unbelievable. I think he's a really good singer.
I got addicted to the CD.
No, the series are very good.
See, and then she's the wife, no? Well,
She was.
see.
Yeah.
But the ex-wife is also a really interesting artist. It's Fernanda Laguna, and has a really weird practice also, no? Like with pedagogical things in marginal communities and independent art spaces, publishing scenes, many things. They were like a strange and dynamic couple. And then there's this just to end. There is this other really interesting printer in Mexico that is called Taller de Ediciones Económicas. They are doing translations of texts that haven't been translated into Spanish. This is the Claire Bishop they did like 1 year ago. And they do these kind of things. They don't publish that much because it's difficult and they're like longer efforts, but
What is it, Taller?
Taller de Ediciones Económicas. And they have this riso also. And then maybe we can end with a poem.
Yes.
That'd be nice.
Can you read? You're the one that reads. Maybe a couple of pages.
Called Notes on a Zombie Cataclysm.
Read loudly. Read loudly.
Opening song. Hey sweetheart, don't go. picnicking in the cemetery. Don't go drinking in the cemetery. Don't do drugs at the cemetery. Don't do the goth tonight. Because things are turning weird, because they just found the arm while the rest of the body remains a mystery, because they found just the ear of another mystery, and teeth from the devil knows whose smile. Because things are turning hardcore. Hey honey, listen to this idiot ditty. Don't go dancing in the cemetery. Don't go dancing in the cemetery. Don't go dancing in the cemetery. Stay here with me tonight. A hand emerging from a grave. The hand of a corpse that at the end proves to be undead, or not quite dead, nearly putrefied, the hand of a zombie. The hand that emerges at the end of the film to announce that the end is not the end, there's going to be a sequel. So, the hand that sprouted from the earth, like a monstrous cactus from a clandestine grave hidden away in the north of Mexico. But nobody noticed the hand, and if anyone did, they weren't telling, and if they did tell, nobody believed them, and if anyone did believe them, they believed them too late. There are now 40,000 zombies laying waste to Mexico, according to official statistics. The hand twitching like a voice over laughter, vengeance will be terrible.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Mauricio, for doing the fair. Thank you guys for speaking.